Hey there, and welcome to day 85 of the 100 Days Python Programming Challenge. And our topic for today is understanding Flask routing. Today, we're going to discover how to define route and how to dynamically handle URL parameters to build flexible web application. It's day 85, 15 more days, and this is over. I'm so excited. Welcome back. I really hope you have been enjoying the Flax tutorial so far. And I've started the countdown because it's almost 100 days. That's like 15 days to go, but I started the countdown. And today we'll continue with Flax. Today's topic will do URL parameters and dynamic routing in Flax. I discovered I know Flax and building website or web dev applications, it's a broad topic. So watch this space. I'm going to do something where I would cover every single thing in web development, HTML, CSS, Flags, Java. We also have JavaScript, not Java, JavaScript, and so on and so forth. So you should watch the space if you're interested in learning that. So let's continue with our 100 days of Python programming. So today we'll cover how you can use URL parameters and dynamic routing in order to make your Flask application more versatile. And by the end of today, you will know how to extract data from your URL and use it to build dynamic web paging. So you would understand what URL parameters are and how they work and how to create dynamic routes in Flask and how to use the Flask to capture and process data from the URL. So if you're wondering that what are URL parameters, these are parameters that allows you to pass data directly in the URL. If you're searching or if you're on a website and you see the website and then there's a slash and then you see more information and maybe there's another slash and then you see other information, those are your URL parameters. So they help you to like identify maybe a specific resource, like maybe your username or you're able to filter through product or sort data. When you're shopping, you see the URL changes based on whatever thing you're doing, the either you're filtering or either you're sorting. So Flex makes it easy for you to define those routes that captures the URL parameter. So how do you now create dynamic routes? You create dynamic routes by putting them in an angle bracket. So you dynamic route contains placeholder for the variable values, and these placeholders are defined by using angle brackets. So I have my app.py file. Let me just show you an example of a code that would. So, for example, this is how you would have like your dynamic route. This is your username. You see it is in a angle bracket. And when somebody visits the URL like user slash Fumi, for example, the username part of the URL acts like a placeholder. So you extract the value from that placeholder and you pass it into the greet user function. So it is extracting the username from this placeholder and then it then returns hello username. So in short, username is whatever text that the user types in place of the username in the URL. So user slash Alice would then be username equals to Alice. User slash Bob, the username would be Bob. And that's how Flask is able to automatically extract data from the dynamic route and pass it into the corresponding view function. This is also an example of another function. So profile, and then this is the name, and then it gets the name from the URL, and then it passes it into the welcome dot whatever name that is there profile. So this is how we're able to use dynamic routing and capture URL parameter from our dynamic routing. And it is possible to have multiple parameters. Here we have single parameters. We have the username, and here we have just the name. If we want to have don't worry, I'll put all the functions together. I'm just showing you the individual functions. Everything will be put together and we will test it on the web page. So for multiple parameters, for instance, if you want to have the name and the age of the user, this is example of the function. So you see we have our app.route and then we have user. You see the username is an angle bracket and slash we have the age and we have the age in also an angle bracket. And we also specify that it is an integer. And you see in the function, we have two arguments, the username and the age. And then we're returning the information that we have in the URL, returning the username, and then the age is so years old. So by default, Flask will treat all URL parameter as a string because you might wonder why do we have int here. So string is the default. When you want to have int, then you can specify that that is an integer or it's a float or it's a path or it's a UUID. So that is how we're able to specify. So when there's like, for example, if we have like product ID or if we have the age, it's going to we are going to specify that it is an integer and then the output is then going to be that the user is 20 years old or whatever age the user is. This is also another example when you're dealing with products. So we have our product detail function. See, our URL is product and our product ID, it's an integer. So example of such URL might be product forward slash 101. And then the output would then be details of products with ID 101. And then when you put ABC or something that is not a product ID, you will get a 404 error because ABC is not an integer. Okay, so now let's test it. Let's build an example application. So all this would go. Our file structure, we have the app.py, and then in our template file, I want to have a profile.html file. So I'll have my profile.html. And this is where we would have the HTML code to display information about the user. So then in my app.py, what we've used so far, we've imported flags and we have also used request and also the render template, which is what we've been using. So I bring that back. And then to all the other codes that we have, our app equals to flags name. And then our if name equals to main. To learn about this, watch the first day video. Okay, so now let's have our home function, that is our default URL, the initial URL. So what I just wanted to do is just to print out a message that, oh, welcome to, this is our dynamic routing tutorial. So it's just as simple as all the home functions that we've been having that just prints out a message, not rendering any templates, just returning welcome to dynamic routing tutorial. Now I want to have my username URL. So I will show you dynamic route with single parameter and dynamic route with multiple parameter. So the first one, let's have our app.route, and then in there I would have user and then the angle bracket. I will then have my username inside. So this is my single parameter dynamic route. And this is my route. But then what function? I will then have my user profile function. So dev user profile. And then my argument is the username. And what I just wanted to do is to get the username from my user. So I want to render my profile.html template and then username is equal to username. So this is basically it, my single parameter dynamic route. So username and then user profile, username, and then renders templates, the HTML will write the code shortly, and then it gets the username, user equals to username. And then what if I want to have like multiple parameter, because this is single parameter dynamic routing. What if I want to have like multi-parameter? So I'll have my app dot route, and then I have user, my angle bracket, I have username and details. So this will be in my URL and also my angle. And here I would have integer and then the age of my user. So this is my route with multiple parameter, and this is the one with a single parameter. And then I would have my function. So that would be dev user details. user details. And what are my user details? The username and then the age. And next, I want to return the user's age. So I just want to return that username is equal to this particular age or not. So I'm not rendering a template. I'm just returning the username and the age that we have from the URL. So the third thing that I want to also do is to have like a search parameter where we were able to search for queries or stuff. So I would have my app route slash search, and then I want to get the query from the search, that is from the URL. I want to use request dot get, and then I want to also return that this is what you searched for. Yeah, so now let's create our HTML template. So we have our profile.html. I just want to have the username, and then I want to have like this is your profile page and also a URL to go back, which to go back to the home page. So this is just welcome. Remember the curly braces. So that's the username, and then this is your profile page, and then the slash to go back. So now let's test it. Let me test it and then you'll see. So to run, I have Python app.py, enter, and this is the URL, so follow link, and this is what we have. You see the first one was just to return welcome to dynamic routing tutorial, and that's what we have, dynamic routing tutorial. And then if I now add, remember we have the route user and then the username. So if I have user and then I put a username which is Fumi, and then I click on enter, you see it goes to the page, the profile page. Welcome Fumi. This is your profile page, and then there's the link to go back. So by adding the parameters to the URL, it's able to fetch it and also put it back on my page. So what if I wanted to display the details? We also have the multiple parameter. The first one that we had was the single parameter. So then using the URL for the user details. So I would have user, and then I would have details, and then the age, so 12, and then I click on enter. Oh, see, the URL is not accurate because I didn't add the username. So user, and then what is the username? The username is for me, and then enter, and then we have for me is 12 years old. So see, it was user, then the username, then details, and the age. So user, this is the username, and then the details, and then the age. And also, what if we want to do the search query, which is the third one that we want to search? So we would have search, and then we would have a question mark. And what is our query? Because we have to specify our query. So query equals to, why am I putting space in URL? Python, and then enter. See, you searched for Python. So these are the ways that we're able to do dynamic routing, dynamic URL in Python using Flask, and which I showed you how to use when it's a single parameter, when it's a double parameter, or when you're using search. So we're able to get information directly from the user, from the URL, and displaying it in our page. The day before, we were able to get information from the user form, but today it is from the URL itself, and then we're able to like display it on our page. Are you excited so far? See, Flax is fun. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching the tutorial. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment if you have any questions. The link to the code is in the description to my GitHub. Download it, try it out, and let me know if you have any question. See you tomorrow.